Now we move on to the next topic, which is really like costs and insurance. So not that we need to know exactly how much it costs to handle a DUI, but what's to anticipate, not the legal costs, but the costs of the chain of events that occur from a DUI?
I would say, costs outside of your legal defense, which of course can vary on who you plan on hiring.
Right.
And
that's all subjective.
Of course, yes. I mean,
it is.
You get what you pay for in this business, like anything else. With us, you have a full team behind you, 3-4 people, attorneys and whatnot, or touching your file, not just one person, but expenses. Insurance, there's something called SR22 insurance. It's high risk insurance. When I first started doing this, 12 years ago, clients, would scream bloody murder about, the cost. Yeah. No one really says anything anymore. So I would say that I can't give you the exact number, but if you had to obtain SR22 insurance, which that's of course very case specific, sure, whether or not you have to have that. That's one cost. And then there's some classes that you may or may not have to do. There's SATOP, Substance Abuse Traffic Offender Program. That's about $500 all in, depending on which level. There's a screening process, and then they place you in, a certain level class. There's Victim Impact Panel, which is an online class, like $90. So I don't know, what'd you say, Steve? Like outside legal expenses, like maybe you're looking at another 500,
yeah,
600. I don't
know. More than that. I typically
750 maybe.
Yeah, and it could vary too. The big thing is what number DWI this is.
Yeah, that is huge.
Because then you're looking at, typically you can avoid fines on a first one.
Well, you mean succession of how many have you had? Number
correct.
two.
Yes, if you're on a second or third, I mean, again, as Chris said, you're doing a SATOP, you're doing a increased level course. It gets more expensive. Several thousand, a couple thousand. I mean, again, there's a big variance, but I always tell, they're going to nickel and dime you the whole way. People are amazed that you're like, wait, I got to pay to do community service. I don't know how many people get asked that. I mean, you're giving free work to the community.
Yeah. You got to rent the vest.
At an animal shelter, and you're, an Elks Lodge, a church, or whatever, and they're like, I'm paying. Yeah, because there's these administrative fees and so forth. So they'll nickel and dime you. What I always say is, how valuable is your license? I mean, I've never had a client come into my office ever and said, I can afford to lose my license. Yeah. I don't care. And a lot of people work from home, right? I mean, especially in the wake of COVID and post-COVID. But nobody has ever come into my office and said, well,
I don't care about the license part of my case.
What? I mean, your license is your livelihood, most people.
Oh, my gosh, yeah.
And even folks that work at home, they still have meetings and kids and, picking carpool up and taking kids to sports. And, we use it's their one of our most valuable assets. Sure. And for most people, it's our way to a livelihood, right? Mm-hmm. So I say to them, how valuable is your license? Again, you get what you pay for.